inspired, fully engaged. You're tuning in to Reality with Vicki Gunvalson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Reality with Vicki. I'm so excited to have Trista Sutter on today's podcast. And you know what, Trista, I just have to say I adore you. I've adored you forever. You are the OG of the Bachelorette TV series. Very first, and the one that started it all, kind of like me, with the Housewives of Orange County. So you have a great love story. You're still married to the one that proposed to you on the show. And you're not going to want to miss this exciting episode coming up. So, Trista, got so many questions for you. I wrote a bunch out to make sure I get to the point.
Gotta stay organized, right?
No, I try to be organized and try to be on point. But, you know, I know your time is valuable. And you've got how many children? Two?
Two, yeah, 11 and 13.
Nice. Wow, time is flying. Flying by.
So fast.
I know. So you've used your platform to inspire people to be better, to live a more inspired life, which I am on that same token for. I listened to your Better, Etc. podcast, and so much of what I heard resonated with me. And I feel like that we've got a lot in common, known for our roles on reality TV shows, using that platform to inspire others, because we know, and you know, that reality TV isn't always the kindest to us.
Yeah.
And so I think that from this episode, the viewers and listeners are going to see is that it isn't always what you see, what our reality is. But for me personally, I'm focusing on inspiring others to live a fully engaged life.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in pursuing overall wellness in life, and to me includes financial, emotional, social, physical, and spiritual wellness. Mm-hmm. And I created a platform called Financial Wellness with Vicki to be able to pair with many others that have experienced in that industry and just try to inspire. So you get the platform now. I just want to do a little introduction on why I think we do have a lot in common. So first of all, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Right. So you've got a snowstorm today.
Yeah, it's a huge storm. And I think it's been all over the news pretty much everywhere. We were watching the Weather Channel this weekend. I was in Steamboat Springs for a hockey tournament with my son, and we were watching the Weather Channel and we're like, whoa, we made the Weather Channel. Yeah, it's a pretty big storm, and it's good because I am married to a firefighter. And so I'm always super aware of how much moisture we get, because when the time comes for summer to hit and we're really, 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 really dry, I want to stay far, far away from having fires in our neighborhood. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Talking about your husband, he was kind of a heartthrob for so many bachelorettes. And going back in time, did you know, was it love at first sight when you saw him?
You know, it's interesting. I love my husband and we have a great love story, I think, but I don't think we did have love at first sight. I think both of us were very interested in each other in terms of our physical appearance. And then of course, once got talking, and the devil, he's open the Hi, how you doing? Sorry, my husband just got home.
Hi, how you doing? I can't give you pets right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, bye.
Sorry, Ryan just got home from work, and I thought he was coming to say hi, but it was just my dog.
Yeah. So you were saying
love at first sight. Yes. So we were definitely very physically attracted to each other, and of course, the more and more we talked, we were attracted to each other on different levels. But looking back, I don't think it was love at first sight. It was interest, a very, very significant interest at first sight. And then the love developed for both of us. You know, he said while he was in the house with the other guys, you know, he was having a great time. And not that he didn't want to go on dates with me, but I think that, you know, for a while during the show, it took him a little bit to, you know, to start to fall in love. And I feel like our relationship was actually relatively normal. I mean, in terms of The Bachelorette and The Bachelor, it's all very crazy and untraditional, and I get it. It's very, very fast. But for us, it developed as natural, I feel like, as it could have.
And how long was it from the time you met to the time you got married?
Well, we got engaged after 6 weeks, and then we got married a year after that.
So that's a good amount of time. Because I was thinking, like, you get engaged in 6 weeks and you're married in 7 weeks, it's going to have been a divorce because you don't really know each other.
Right.
I've gone through marriage counseling and relationship counseling. They said you don't really know the person until the 2-year mark.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I found that to be somewhat true because the first year you're courting and being on your best behavior, and the second year you're falling into who you are. But then the third year, you're really falling into who you are. So for me, I was married 9 years to my first husband. I'm not proud of it. And then I divorced him. He was not a good husband at all. He had the 3 A's: abuse, alcoholism, and addiction.
Oh gosh.
I had 2 little children. I had a 6 and 7-year-old at the time I divorced him. And then I fell in love 3 years later with a man I was married to for 22 years. But the reality TV show did not do well for our marriage. I like, if we were not on reality TV, we would still be together. So I'm a love story. I want that love story. I want that knight in shining armor, and I will do whatever I can to make those relationships work. But it's, when I'm going through these counseling, because I'm trying to evaluate, like, am I a bad picker or is it just that? And she said, it's 3 years. I mean, you really don't know that person for 3 years. So that's interesting. And
that's
you got
really
that,
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if you've there are people in your circle that have got very quick, and then they look at each other and go, we don't even really know each other.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends who have gotten married quickly, but they're still married. And I think that they just have stayed committed, even though maybe they've found out things about each other that they don't necessarily love, but they're willing to work through it, Of course, if there's an abusive relationship, I think that's different, but nobody that I know personally has experienced that, at least to my knowledge. And you're right. I think the honeymoon phase really is a true thing, especially for us. We were in a whirlwind of planning the wedding and filming the wedding special and doing the wedding, and then go, oh, there he is. Say hi.
Here. Come over here.
Come here. She wants to say hi.
Hi.
This is Vicki.
Hi, Vicki.
I don't know if you've ever seen.
I can't hear you.
Show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, he can't hear.
Put a plug in his ear. I don't know if you've ever seen the real.
Oh,
I still can't hear.
well, that's weird. Oh my gosh, how can you not hear? Hold on one second, Vicki, if you want to say hi. I'm wondering.
And then
Well, here, you put one of these on and I'll plug it back in.
There you go. Now can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
That's a picture perfect right there. 2 earplugs into the I wanted to say hi because I was talking to Trista. I've been on the reality show, The Real Housewives of Orange County, for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you ever watch the show. It's a silly
With
show.
Gretchen and Slade.
Yeah.
We're friends with Gretchen and Slade.
Oh, good. Gretchen came on after. Well, Slade was dating Joe when I first got on, and then Lori, and then he went to Gretchen, and now they have this beautiful baby, and they're so happy, and it's a great love story. But for me, Ryan, I want to tell you, like, you were when I was younger back in the day, when you guys were all younger, watching The Bachelorette, it was that true love story that everybody had hoped to get one day in their life, and now it's dating apps and all these other things, and. I just commend, and I'm so proud of you guys that you were able to build a solid marriage off of a reality show, which most marriages fail. So you were the minority, because truly everybody on my show has gotten divorced.
Oh, wow.
Well, hopefully it's not because they went on your show. Otherwise,
it's not good for a good relationship.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Stressful.
But, yeah. Well, thanks for saying that. That was nice of you. And it's nice to meet you and enjoy your interview. And I'll just catch up with you and later. Okay. Bye, Vicki.
All right, I'll be down in a bit.
That was a nice surprise.
Yeah. I was like, I bet he'll come up and say hi.
Good.
Sorry, he's going to grab our dog. There they go. Okay.
What kind of dog do you have?
Oh, sorry. We have 2. We have a 5-pound Yorkie who's 16 years old. Crazy. I cannot believe he's survived 16 years in the mountains. And then we have a mutt. She is a rescue who we call her a lowrider golden because she's really long and really short and she looks like a white golden. So
very nice. I love golden retrievers.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to get to some of my questions because I could talk to you all day long.
True.
So very fun. So you were the very first Bachelorette, right?
Correct.
Very first. Did you even understand what this was going to be about and how has the show changed from when you were on it till now?
Oh gosh. So no, I had no idea. It was not a thing. So I was on the very first Bachelor, which was the very first season of any of the Bachelor, Bachelorette, all Bachelor in Paradise, you know, all of it. So I was on the very first season of The Bachelor and I was the runner-up, if you will, and had my heart broken. And they asked me, he's the executive producer, and he called me when I was watching the finale of The Bachelor and said, do you want to be Bachelorette or would you consider being the Bachelorette? And he was like, it's not something that is finalized right now. You know, we have to go through lots of legalities and everything, but we would like for you to be our first Bachelorette. And I was like, sign me up, because I figured I hadn't had any success in meeting anyone yet of quality. And I wanted to find my forever person. And the producers knew me really well at that point. And I figured they would do a better job at connecting me to people who I wouldn't otherwise have met. And so I figured, why not? So I went on the show and, obviously it changed my life. So that's a huge change, but the way that the show has changed, so many things. Well, and I should go back and say, I had no idea what I was getting into because reality shows weren't a huge thing at that point in time. It was, I think, Survivor.
How many years ago was that?
That was, let's see, we got married in 2003. I was on it 2002. And at that time, it was like Survivor and American Idol. And then, of course, like Real World and Road Rules.
Right.
Reality shows were just starting, and I remember doing a panel. Mike Fleiss was on it, and Burnett was on it, and he was like, the press were saying, we don't see this lasting. We don't see this being a forever thing. I mean, hello, that was so wrong.
They said the same thing about Housewives of Orange County, and look at all these other cities. So
I mean, right? It's crazy. So it was, I had no idea what I was getting into. I'm a pretty open person and I was willing to go there. And I feel like I was very conscientious about kind of what I was saying and how I was acting because, you know, it really mattered to me what my family thought and my friends. And did I get engaged after 6 weeks? I sure did, but still I was in love. So I figured, you know, why not go for it? Anyway, it's changed a lot in that, social media, that's a humongous change.
Started.
No. We had message boards, which basically were, you could go to the website, the ABC website, and they would have a message board tab on there. And people could say, it's kind of like Reddit, a bit like message boards, I feel like are a bit like Reddit, where people just go on there and they talk. There's a thread talking about Ryan and how they want to meet him if I don't, you know, end up with him or something like that. But of course, there's the opposite end of the trolls, you know, just going on there to spew hatred and be cruel and mean and judgmental. So that was the only thing we had. And of course, I'm super curious. So I went on the message boards. I probably shouldn't have, but I did. But I liken that to social media now because not everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people out there use social media to just vent and judge and spew hatred, and they don't have any consequences, which is really frustrating. I know that you know.
They hide behind their computers and they think they know you and they think that we don't have feelings. We're human. We have feelings. So every bad thing that has ever been said about us, I mean, it hurts. And I started not reading anymore. I don't know if you've felt.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. I try not to too. I feel like all of us shouldn't. It's the DMs that people slide into my DMs every now and then, and I try to stay up to date with the DMs, but I also kind of try to stay away too, because I don't want to have to deal with that. I will say though that I would say a great majority of my followers are very positive, and are very kind. So I'm thankful for that. But social media is a huge change. I mean, they used to have a very specific format. So it went from 25 people to 15 people to 8 people to, whatever. And now it's like they don't end every show with a rose ceremony. The format is really a bit looser. I think that obviously the diversity has changed quite a bit in the last year, which is, I think, a good thing. We didn't have much diversity. I mean, on my season of The Bachelorette, I had one Black guy and I don't think he was Hispanic. He was like Hawaiian. Okay. So, I mean, just from that, and I know the first season of The Bachelor, I believe Lanice she received the first kiss. She was a Black woman. She is a Black woman. Hi, Lanice, if you're listening. But I don't remember. I know there were there was an Asian woman. But it's like, a great majority of the people on each show, at least up until a year or two ago, were white. And so I think that the diversity has changed a lot, and needed to. So I'm glad for that. And my son, the extent of my travels included Seattle and Cabo, and Sedona and New York. But now they go, well, not of course in quarantine or in COVID times, but now they go to like Australia and Iceland and Austria and wherever else. I'm like, okay,
they have $1,000 now, which
they do for sure. I mean, I shouldn't complain because we got an incredibly beautiful wedding, a dream wedding for any girl who's like me and grew up dreaming of their wedding. So, but yeah.
Where was your wedding at?
Wedding was in Palm Springs.
Oh, I love
the Ritz-Carlton is the hotel now, but it was called Rancho Mirage back when we got married.
Yes, very beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Well, I was born in Chicago. I live in California now. And when I go out to the desert, even though it's an hour and a half away, I still feel like I'm on a huge vacation because it's so beautiful out there. So.
Yes, so different. It's a totally different world in Palm Springs. Yeah, we loved it.
So this is going into, I'm super insecure because of my, I'm a commitment person. When I get in, I'm in. And there's been some hiccups in my personal life that caused the relationships to fail. But what do you think? You weren't married before you met Ryan, right?
No, first marriage.
So what do you think you can attribute to being in the public light and having a successful marriage? It's being on the same page. Like, I know what I can do, but you always have to trust that the other person's going to do the same, right? So tell me what you think your tips would be for people that are struggling in relationships, because you've got a lot of history with that and you've got some good knowledge and tips. I think it would help people.
So, being in the public eye, you're definitely kind of put under a microscope, if you will. And in the beginning of our relationship, that was definitely the case. And at that point in time, I was looking to change careers. So I was a pediatric physical therapist and I loved it. I loved my clients. I loved working in that field. But after I moved to California to be on The Bachelorette, I would have had to go back to Florida or take my licensure exam over. And I have a really bad memory. And I was like, I'm never going to pass the exam if I try to take it in a different state. And so I was thinking, maybe I should change careers. And I had so much fun in television, just the energy. It's energetic and people are enthusiastic and there's constant adrenaline. And I loved it. I loved the environment. And so I did a lot of hosting hosting gigs, whether it was on The View or Good Day Live or Good Day LA or Extra or Good Morning America. Like I did a bunch of stuff and I loved it. But my priority was my husband. And he is a true mountain man. Like if he is not living in the mountains, he probably would be extremely upset all the time, sad, unfulfilled.
Work, right.
Just not who he is. And I wanted to dedicate myself to my relationship more than my hopeful path in terms of career. And so I made the leap to move to Vail. Now, I was born in Indianapolis, raised in St. Louis. I lived in Miami for 7 years. I'm kind of a big city girl, or had been to that point. And Vail is a very small town, very small town. So it was a huge leap, but I wanted to take that leap in order to show Ryan that I was dedicated to him and our relationship. And so I think even just taking out the public eye part of it, it's showing your partner through action, not just words, but through action, that you are dedicated to them. And I kind of put him first over my career, or at least a hopeful career. And because the full career would have been that I moved to LA or stayed in LA or went to New York or a bigger city, if I really wanted to truly go down that path. So I think it's just about dedication and showing your commitment and really prioritizing the relationship, because I think a lot of people come off of The Bachelor, shows similar to it, and they're caught up in the whirlwind and all is fun and exciting, and you should totally take advantage of it because it doesn't stay around for forever. Take advantage of the fun stuff that you get offered to do and do the things, but also make sure that you are prioritizing your relationship, however that looks in your life.
I think too many of us get selfish and really just focus on us first and then hope that the spouse will follow.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things I did when I was married to Don, was I was about, this is my show, my life. You can join me if you want, but I'm going to do this because I loved filming reality TV. And at the end of the day, he just felt, you don't even need me anymore. And I didn't show him that I did. I needed him as my strength and my backbone. But 22 years married, I shouldn't have pushed him out, and no show is worth that. So that's where I've learned and grown from that, is to know that your partner needs to be prioritized. And I think the listeners are listening to this, take it from somebody who's been married a long time, and take it from somebody that ruined their marriage by thinking reality TV was going to be there for forever, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Was there problems in our marriage? Yeah, but that wasn't divorceable. So that's where I think that the listeners, whether they're, COVID has caused a lot of unrest with a lot of relationships right now. And I want to touch on that always with my listeners, because I want to encourage them. If you don't have one of those 3 A's, and I went through a lot of counseling on this, it's abuse, adultery, addiction, you typically usually sort out, the issues, because you got married for a reason. You get married in church and you get divorced in a courtroom. It's really sad.
True story. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just the big whole love story, big hearts above our heads. I'm all about that, So
love it.
So another note I have here, when I listened to your podcast, something that you shared hit home to me, because I do the same thing. You spoke about getting shamed for not addressing social issues, which I don't either. I don't touch social issues. Don't even go there, because you're never going to please everybody. Nope. So what does that look like for you when you ignore it the way I do? I just ignore it. It's just, I'm not going to go there.
So this came up recently because something came out. I was in Denver, I believe, with my son for hockey. And a lot of things were happening in Bachelor Nation, if you call it now Bachelor Nation. So all the people included in Bachelor Nation, the fans, all the producers even. And there was some drama happening. I'm sure people have heard it if you watch reality television. And I had just been super busy that week, whether I was podcasting or shuttling the kids everywhere or just being involved in my life. And I was super busy. I didn't have a chance to actually say anything about what had been going on. And I think people still, in a way, look to me to speak out against The Bachelor. I've been called the fairy godmother. You know, I think they look to me because I have said this before. I feel very maternal towards the people on the show because I, you know, was there when it began and everyone else is younger than me. So in a way I feel very maternal and I want people to be happy. And so a lot of people I think still look to me for my thoughts and opinions. And I appreciate that. It's really hard when you are trying to just live your life. I can't always comment. I don't like to always comment because you're right. In terms of politics or religion, you're not going to please everyone. Like there are going to be people out there who don't agree with you. And I live a life where I try to respect everyone and their opinions. And because we all have the right to believe what we want to believe.
Right.
And so I want to respect everyone. I don't want to stand up on my platform and be like, well, this is how I think, and you should think this way too. You know, there are times like in my recent podcast, I think, depending on when this comes out, I addressed what had been going on, like with Chris Harrison, with Taylor Nolan and her tweets, with Rachel Kirkconnell, with Rachel Lindsay in the Chris Harrison interview. And I talked about it. I also, I think, shared on my stories too. And I did an entire episode called Trista's Takes that I'm actually incorporating into each episode from here on out, but a special episode all about this. So, you know, I think it is important to stand for certain things, but I don't agree that people should be shamed if they feel that it's not their position to, if they don't feel comfortable saying something like you were just saying, you don't get into talking about politics, talking about religion. And we should respect that because that's what you want to do. So I think shaming people for not speaking up is not okay. I think shaming people, period. Is not okay.
The bullies are alive and well when you're on a reality show. They just don't stop. So I, you know, it's worked for me because my followers and my fans are super important to me, and I don't want to upset anybody. I want them to know that their voice is heard. It doesn't mean they agree or what have you, but their voice is heard. And I just feel like that's the best way to respect them is by just honoring that. Whatever they wish, you know, my son is very liberal. I'm not. So we just don't even go there. And his viewpoints, I love him dearly, but we just don't go there. And I think it's just better that way. That's because he went to University of Colorado Boulder. Another question I wrote down was, let's discuss this cancel culture that you already addressed briefly. Your perspective was that people need to be held accountable for their actions. What do you think that we can do to influence and help shift away from canceling people and towards more accountability? So I'm a big believer of this as well. So tell me your perspective on this cancel culture that you...
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I did share this in the Trista Takes episode as well, but it's really hard for me to think, like back in the day, I just watched a video this morning and I don't know what video, like I said, bad memory, but I do remember bits and pieces. And I remember someone talking about how, what did they say? You used to be able to say sorry and be remorseful, and then we could move on from that. And, you know, as I explained on my podcast, I believe there's a spectrum of right and wrong, right? There's people like Adolf Hitler who were horrendous human beings, right? They're really, really they're the wrongest of the wrong, right? And then there's Mother Teresa, who is the rightest of the right, you know, like she did unbelievable things to give back to humanity, right? And so there's this huge spectrum, and all of us are fallible. All of us make mistakes. And so some days we might be a little more towards the wrong side. Some days we might be more towards the right side. And so I think that there's this big spectrum of where you fall in the right and wrong. And should certain people, sexual abusers, sexual predators, should they be held accountable and put in jail? I believe they should, 100%. If that's considered cancel culture, then maybe I believe in it. But I don't believe in canceling someone just because they made one mistake. I think that if they made a mistake that is unlawful, then they need to pay a price and they need to have a consequence. And someone reached out to me and they said, but don't you want to teach your children consequences? And I do. I teach my children consequences when they do something wrong. They're in trouble. You know, they have something taken away, or they used to have time out, you know, when they were little. So yes, I definitely believe in consequences. I just believe in consequences that are relative to the mistake. Right?
Mistake. Yes, I agree.
Right. So I don't agree with cancel culture. I believe that we should all treat others how we want to be treated. I believe wholeheartedly in the golden rule, and we all make mistakes. We should be held accountable, but I don't believe that we should be just immediately written off, you know.
Well, all these new words are coming about in these last 10 years, and cancel culture is just one of the most recent ones. And it's like 5 years ago, I never even heard about this.
Right, true.
New verb, technology or verbology, or what was the right word? Vocabulary, yeah. Vocabulary that, it's not technology. That is now coming in, and we've got to now, you know, absorb this. Now what is something else that we've got to, you know, take into account? So, yeah. I think your viewpoints are very much aligned with mine. Being both of us starting a reality show that has become a worldwide famous reality show, and now we're sitting back doing podcasts and talking about it. But what made you want to do a podcast? This is my second term at podcast. I had a previous one last year, and then I started a new one, this Reality with Vicki. So,
oh, amazing! What was your first one?
It was Whoop It Up with Vicki, and I was just on the wrong platform. So I'm super excited to be with Lux TV now, and really in Lux Media, we're doing really a great thing now, more center focused to women. And I think it's just really good. I think that this inspirational message that we have and we are is needed right now, and it's been needed. I love men, but I'm not on this big, you know, man bashing thing. I also believe that women are underserved in so many areas, especially finance, and that's what I do for a living. So insurance and finance. And so for me, I wanted to kind of platform this into helping people through my Facebook group and really getting guests on like you that are inspirational, that can help women that are feeling a little bit, you know, in a bad place. I mean, not everybody's in a good place right now.
No.
So I think if we can have empathy and we can give them hope and, you know, encouragement that they can find the man of their dreams or woman of their dreams, whatever they wish to pursue, that it is available and it is, you know, something that you can manifest.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I love it. I love it. I think it's so much fun. It's very cathartic for me. I am learning so much from all of my guests. In fact, I'd love to have you on at some point to talk about finances, because I really haven't touched on that yet.
Women are underserved. I mean, we know that as a whole. And, you know, if you're married, typically never work, men are taking care of it. And how do we know that they're doing it right? So, you know, it's always two heads are better than one, and we want to get these women educated.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I haven't directed my attention definitely towards women, but I feel like probably most of my listeners are women. I wanted to put something out. So I wrote a book on gratitude, and that was kind of my way of leaving a positive legacy, if you will, for my kids. And I never thought I would be a writer and never thought I would be a podcaster. But so many people have approached me over the years saying, you need to do podcasts, you need to do a podcast. And I am a person who doesn't like to force things. If it doesn't feel right, then I don't do it. And it just didn't feel right. And quarantine hit, and I had a conversation with my son, and we got in an argument, and I walked away from the argument. To this day, I don't know what the argument was about, but it happened, and I walk away and I thought, I need to be better. And that's when the light bulb hit, and I thought, that's what I want to do. I just want to talk about being a better person. So I get guests on to talk about really anything that we can do to be better, whether it is dealing with grief, whether it is being a better decision maker, whether it is being better in business, whether it is finances, whether it is being a better parent to a teenager. All of these things, I feel like there's so much out there that I could talk to people about. And I'm really excited about it because I feel like it's my path.
Yeah.
I was just filling out this questionnaire for a friend who's doing this like mentorship series. And in the questionnaire, talk about what do you feel that you're called to do something? What is calling? And I said motherhood and podcasting, like those right now in my life. I was called to be a mother. I always wanted to be a mother. And now I'm realizing that podcasting, I love connecting to people, and I love sharing their words of wisdom, their knowledge, and selfishly taking that for myself too. So it's been really fun.
We always can learn to be a better human. I'm always, always proud of that. But do me a favor. We're going to wrap up. I have another call in 10 minutes. I want to be on your podcast.
I would love that.
Please connect with my team. And, I'm just so proud of you and so happy for you.
Thank you.
One of those princesses, I was, oh my gosh, she's got a love story. And I was like, it is available. It is allowable. It is, if you let the gratitude and universe bring it to you. I think that's a lot of it is manifesting your reality.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, it's not all a fairy tale. Our life is.
Our eyes it is. In our eyes it is.
Right. Okay, fine.
Keep it that way. So best to stay safe in this crazy world we're in. And I know you're in a snowstorm. Just enjoy it. Fire for the time. Make some hot chocolate with your babies and play Monopoly or something, just nesting, right?
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, have fun. Okay, bye.
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 Now, glutathione is a big word, but it's the body's own master antioxidant. So it's a scavenger for free radicals, for bacteria, and what's relevant now, viruses. This is new to the marketplace. There's no other product on the market that has the ingredient NACET.
And basically NACET increases the production of that glutathione that is in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system and keep it strong. Elevated sense of well-being. Supports muscle strength and endurance. Cognitive function. Powerful liver support. Energy. Helps blood sugar regulation. Superior bioavailability of key ingredients.
One of your best defenses against COVID is a strong immune system. Taking GSH Plus as a daily supplement does all that. And now we have the product out on the marketplace.